Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. I think it's better
Yes,
now.
we hear you.
Yes,
All right. So
sir.
who was recording for the class? Please let's continue.
Yeah, sir, I was recording, so
Hammond.
yeah, yes, please.
Recording in progress.
All right. So uh, after the Homo ergaster, which was the third stage of the evolutionary process, the fourth stage. The fourth stage. The fourth stage was when we had the Homo sapiens. They were very close to the human ancestors, or present-day human beings. And then finally, the Homo sapiens sapiens. The Homo sapiens sapiens are the population of modern humankind. So at the Homo sapiens level, the tools that were used were no more stones and all that. It came to the use of what? Metals. So they were able to mine or iron or metals, smelt them, and turn them into tools, turn them into farming implements and all that. So this was the the Iron Age. So the Homo sapiens belong to the Iron Age. Now iron working technology began in modern day Turkey in a place called Anatolia, and from there it spread to other parts of the world. In our part of the world, Africa, it came from Turkey, it came to Egypt, and from Egypt it spread to Nigeria, where it spread to Africa south of the Sahara. Now that we've taken a picture of the evolutionary process and the kind of rudimentary tools that we used, first from the usage of tools to the making of tools to the shaping of the tools to finer sizes for specific purposes, and to the use of what? Iron, all throughout the evolutionary process. Now we will look at some, take some few excerpts of the technology in ancient Egypt. And I'm sure some of you have been confronted with this narrative that Africa has contributed nothing to world civilization. And Africa will continue to remain as a continent that will contribute nothing to world civilization and to world progress. This is a Eurocentric position which lacks merit because it is not rooted in the facts. It is not rooted in history. The as far as West civilization is concerned, and as far as Africa's contribution to world progress, West civilization is concerned, Africa has contributed a lot. In the first place, Africa was the homeland, the place where all human beings evolved. That is, if we have to take the scientific explanation uh, as the truth. Then Africa, how human beings gave them the natural environment protected them until they spread to other parts of the world. Then when it comes to civilization, after the evolutionary process had been dealt with, after it has completed, even when it comes to civilization, Africa contributed a lot. Of course, we know that world civilization did not start in Africa. It started in the Middle East. So even the Europeans were not those that started civilization. At the time, the Arabs had reached a high level of civilization, built cities and all that. Europeans were still barbaric people, murdering each other here and there. The Arabs had reached a high level of civilization, with a way, an art of writing, and they were building citadels and all that. But at the time, Europe was still not developed. Europe had not reached any level of civilization. And so, as some of you know, the world's civilization began between two great rivers. And these rivers are recorded in the Bible. And these rivers are found in the Middle East. Two great rivers. What are they?
The Nile River.
And what? I know somebody who mentioned the Nile River. Yes, Collins.
Hello, sir. Please, mine is a question.
Yeah.
Please, sir, I wanted to find out that are we saying that the agriculture, as in part of the science and technology, actually began in Egypt? So during the period,
no, that's not what we are saying.
Okay.
That's not what we are
Okay.
saying. We are only trying,
Okay,
after
sir.
we have finished the origin of man, only trying to paint the picture of the technology in Africa to show how, technology was rooted in Africa long before the Europeans came to the
Oh, okay.
continent.
Okay, sir.
Because
Okay, sir.
agriculture, everything, that's why I say, when civilization started between two rivers, so agriculture as a way of life, domestication of animals, it all began somewhere in the Middle East, between two great rivers. And what are the rivers?
Tigris
Is
and
it not-
Euphrates.
Tigris and Euphrates, correct, for 10 marks. Tigris and Euphrates. Yes. These were the two great rivers. And between these two great rivers emerged world civilization. So, Tigris and Euphrates. Now, in modern time, which countries are between the two great rivers? And Andy, you want to say something? Nati?
Sir,
Yes.
mine is a contribution to what my colleague Collins asked
Okay.
about agriculture starting in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It is true by history that agriculture started in Egypt, where they started manufacturing tools. Because they lived in a desert land, they manufactured irrigation systems whereby they
So
were
when it comes to agriculture, it did not start in Africa.
okay. That's what I learned in history. That's what I'm saying.
No, it did not start in Africa. It
Okay,
started in the Middle. It started in the Middle East.
Okay, sir.
I know mostly when scholars talk about, who can mention some of the countries in the Middle East?
Iraq is one.
Iran.
Iran.
Iraq. Yeah, Nadia.
Saudi Arabia. Arabia is one.
Yes.
The
Lebanon.
Yes, sir. Jordan.
Lebanon and Israel.
Israel.
Oman,
Palestine.
Palestine.
Syria. Yes.
Yes.
Mesopotamia.
Kuwait.
Mesopotamia.
Bogota.
Qatar, and some even refer to what? Egypt as part of the Middle East, because Egypt shares boundaries.
Libya.
The Mount Sinai is a boundary between Egypt and Israel. So the Middle East is not that far away from Africa.
Israel.
It's not just far away from Africa, right? So when we talk about the two great rivers, between where the civilization started, it started in what we call Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, between the two great rivers. And then today we have countries that are within that place. And we have Iran, Iraq, what is that name? This country that is
Syria.
Then Palestine. But this other one that the US bombarded.
Iraq.
Iraq.
Was it really Iraq?
Iraq.
Libya.
Afghanistan.
Good. Afghanistan. So when we talk about the Mesopotamian Empire, it includes all these countries at the time. So actually, Iraq, Iran, they were in the heart of Mesopotamia. That was where civilization started. So the domestication of animals, planting of millet, sorghum, cereals, and all that began there. And because Egypt was close to them, the civilization spread to Egypt. Now, Egyptians, of course, one key thing about their civilization was agriculture. Civilization at that time, when you talk about civilization, there must be a certain life. And there must be a conscious effort to plant food items. There must be a conscious effort to manufacture tools and other things. Those are the things we use to measure civilization. And so the ancient Egyptians moved away from the hunter-gathering economy and began to they took agriculture as a way of life. And to be able to boost agriculture, they devised a technology. And this technology was an irrigation technology. The ancient Egyptians applied their mind to nature and realized that anytime in the rainy season in particular, the Nile River will overflow its banks, and therefore the water will water the downstream, the plants and so it is easier for the plants to grow well. But in the dry season, nothing of that sort happened. And so to be able to ensure a year-round cultivation of plants, of food items, they decided to devise an irrigation technology. And it was a kind of device, or like a lever, fitted between two poles. And the lever is the one that enables the swinging of the other part the part that has a bucket fitted to it. Now, if the rope that links to the other side of the lever is pulled down, then the water is lowered into the Nile River for the one operating the machine or device to fetch water. And as it is lowered, or as it is released up, then it pulls the water full of the bucket full of water from the river, and then the water is then poured into. There are channels like gutters that start from at the bank of the river to the farmland. So as they pour it in, it gushes down to the farmland for it to be irrigated. Now, if at this time in the BC, I mean, man was able to apply his mind to do this. So it simply says that, look, if Africa was to continue its high level of civilization without any interruption, Africa could have developed something better. Or on the other hand, we can also say that the people in the ancient period, compared to Ghana, like ancient Egypt, were even fewer better than present day Ghana. We get farming, and we are importing. Yes, so they have architecture and art. And let me just concentrate on the architecture aspect of it. Now, the ancient Egyptians started with huts as their habitats, huts that were covered with the leaves of plants or trees. And then eventually they built round houses and then to rectangular houses. But as time went on, they developed or pushed their architectural technology to another level by using is added, no cement is added to it, mud is mixed up, and then the device that they use to mold bricks, they fit the mud in that one, and then they remove it. When they remove the device that molds it, it creates the shape of the mud bricks, and then the mud bricks are left there for sun to heat them to cake. And when they cake, they are used for building. So even at this particular time, around 11th century BC, they were building temples with mud bricks, and they were also building temples with stones. And this was a technology that was indigenous. They didn't copy it from any people. And of course, they had a conception of the beauty of the environment. And so they will make all kinds of designs on their walls. And they also believe in the spirituality of some of the designs. Just like today, somebody will want maybe have a design of Jesus Christ, have a design of a prophet, and all that, or even have a design of a particular religious object, like the rosary and all kinds of things, and they believe that the presence of these artworks would help to prevent them from certain things. But the Egyptians believe that when you have these artworks, beautiful kept ritual scenes, any ritual scene, you can have people sacrificing and all that. It protects them from disaster. And of course, one other key element was the fact that they developed an art of writing. It was purely an indigenous skill. Started with a pictorial system or the form of pictures, and then it advanced. And the essence was to use that for communication and storage of information. To the extent that even some Europeans, those that wrote a lot of philosophies, a lot of philosophical treatises, came to ancient Egypt to learn. And somebody they called Herodotus, the father of history, was in Egypt for many months to learn from them. And he was from Greece. So the point is that at the time, people like Herodotus came from Greece to learn from the ancient Egyptians. the civilization of ancient Egypt was far ahead of the civilization of ancient Greece. And indeed, today, if you are looking at everything, many of the causes that began, how they came to be, you trace it to the philosophies of the ancient Greeks, the classical Greeks. Who is that? Right. So then we move on to metal technology. The ancient Egyptians were not blessed with resources or natural resources in the form of iron, bronze, and all that. But because of their
Recording in progress.
objects. And one of the key objects that they designed was the ship, all kinds of vessels. They had moved away from the normal canoes, which were basically made up of wood, to shipbuilding. And the ancient Egyptians were able to build durable, strong ships that could sail all the way to Lebanon, to Libya, to Lebanon,